Stand by. Resetting firmware. Animus operating system failure.
Look out!
Life is not a fairy tale, and there are no happy endings.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing? So what is synchronization? Why does it exist? And why is it important? To answer this question, we will take a look at the Animus. The Animus tries to connect the mind of the user to the genetic memory of their ancestor. By synchronization, the Animus user's memory align with those of his or her ancestor. A subject is carefully eased into synchronization by brief sessions in the Animus. As exposure is gradually increased, the user's subconscious becomes acclimatized to the genetic memories and eventually accepts them as natural instead of foreign. To enter full synchronization with the ancestor, the user mustn't try to do things different from the ancestor and follow the memory precisely as it originally happened, with no defiance whatsoever. If you keep trying to alter the memory of the ancestor too much, or act out of character by trying to say things that the ancestor wouldn't say, or perform actions that the ancestor will never do, the synchronization will be broken and that will lead to dysynchronization, which will throw you out of the memory or perhaps even from the simulation completely. You either have to restart a few minutes earlier, seconds earlier, or at the exact same time when you lost the synchronization with your ancestor. By keeping in sync with your ancestor, you can access the next set of available memories, and possible even repressed ones. Repressed memories are dark, traumatic experiences in the ancestor's life. If the user of the Animus has memories deeply repressed, he or she will not be a suitable candidate for the Animus. To quote Dr. Victoria here, on the childhood of the ex-Templar Monroe, the psyche of an abused individual is too unstable, too fractured for the Animus, and so he will not be a suitable candidate for the Animus. When your ancestor walks on the rooftops, the streets, and etc., you will often see optional objectives on the map or in the memory that will grant the user full synchronization. But why is that? Why make it optional and not force it on the user? Well, there are two answers for this. The first one is, it's a game. If we stayed 100% true to the Animus rule, we wouldn't be able to play through it and you just watch a story evolve in front of your eyes without having any interaction in it. The second one, they aren't that important to the overall main memory and the goal that you're trying to achieve, and so the path will still be the same, but the memory will be a bit less accurate and your synchronization will be a bit lower. In the games you have a synchronization bar. You can see it in the top left corner of your screen when you just walk around the city, take a dive in the sea, or gallop around on your horse. Consider this your health bar or just your life bar. When you get hit often or enter areas that you aren't supposed to, this bar gets smaller and smaller and eventually you desynchronize from the ancestor, from the memory or the simulation altogether. Of course you didn't die, it's a memory. Everything has been decided hundreds of years ago. The ancestor still needed to conceive his or her child. But even after the conceiving of a child, there are still ways to follow the memories of the ancestor. The ancestor's mental state in the memory could heavily affect the user's access to the memories. In Assassin's Creed 1, Abstergo wanted to access a certain memory of Altair, the ancestor of Desmond Miles. But because of the mental state of the ancestor, Desmond wasn't able to synchronize with the memory. And so he had to be eased in and they started with the memory that Desmond's subconscious was more okay with. But even so, there could still be problems. Synchronization bars look almost always different in each game and functions a little bit different than the other one. If your health bar gets lower in the Animus 2.0, you need medicine to restore the synchronization. But in the Animus Omega, the synchronization bar restores itself automatically after you escape a conflict or you win one. Unlike the Animus 2.0, you don't need to buy medicine to restore your synchronization. Another difference in synchronization is the accuracy. Some Animuses are more okay with if you do not follow the memory precisely as it happened, so long the end goal of the memory is still the same. As an example, example here, Lucy from Assassin's Creed Syndicate needed to die. If she didn't die, the synchronization with the memory will be lost and that will lead to desynchronization. Lucy was important to the memory. If she didn't die, all the memories after that will not be accurate. And there will be no point of this memory existing in the first place. As I have already said, all these things were decided hundreds of years ago. Lucy died at the hands of Evie Frye. If she didn't die in the memory, that will be inconsistent, defeating the whole point of synchronization and the memory altogether. Small changes or taking a different path are okay, but still this needs to happen. All of this sounds a bit confusing and I agree with it. These rules are specifically made that you can still play and walk around in the memories of the ancestor. But that was it for today's video. I hope you got something out of it and understand synchronization a bit better now. And I hope you have a fun day or night wherever you are.